Hello everyone, I'm teacher Winnie. Today we'll discuss on Physics SPM Trial 2022 Kelantan Paper 1. So first questions, which pair is correct? So here showing you some quantity, physical quantity, and they actually want you to classify the quantity into vector or scalar. So first thing you need to know what is vector quantity, what is scalar quantity. So vector quantity is quantity which have both directions and also magnitude, okay, and magnitude. Whereas what is scalar quantity? Scalar quantity is quantity which have magnitude only. This means direction not really involved in this scalar quantity. So normally those quantity which are classified as scalar quantity, they are also the 7 base quantity. And if you want to know more idea of quantity regarding vector, normally when you learn in forces and motions, when they're involving direction like force, velocity, acceleration, then they are classified as vector. So now we see the option one by one. So weight is weight vector quantity? Yes, because the direction of weight is towards the earth downwards. Okay, distance is not vector quantity. Distance is scalar. Which another quantity which is referred as vector but similar meaning as distance is actually displacement. If it is displacement, then we call it vector. Then velocity is not scalar. They are vector. And acceleration is also vector. So that's why your answer is A. Question 2. Which graph show P increases linearly with Q? Okay, so there is a different relationship between this y-axis and x-axis. Okay, linear means straight line. So if you look at the graph, those straight line graph is either A, B, or D. C is wrong. And then next thing is increasing. Increases. So D is not increases. Now, increases linearly means they start at y-axis or x-axis, not 0. So that's why the answer is B. This shape is increases linearly. So if it is A, what is the relationship? Then it will be directly proportional if they start from 0. Wow, if it is going downhill, then you say decreases linearly. And then for the idea of C, because it's curved graph, then if you were to give relationship, then you say when Q increases, P decreases. So this is how you give the relationship of graph. Okay, move on. Question 3. An object will remain at rest or continue moving with uniform velocity unless it is acted upon by an external force to change its state of motion. What law is explained by the statement above? Okay, so this is under the concept of inertia. Inertia is also named as Newton's first law of motion. So the answer is A. Now, if it is Newton's second law of motion, then it's related to the concept of the F net equals to ma idea, the relationship between acceleration and mass and also force and acceleration. Then C is Newton's third law is regarding every force, there will be another opposite force which act on it, which equal magnitude, okay, but opposite direction. While D is Newton's universal law of gravitation, and there is a force exists between two object. So nothing to do with the statement above lah. Question 4. Which sport event use the principle of conservation of momentum? So of course, what is the concept of this principle of conservation of momentum? It state that the total momentum before collision, m1 u1 plus m2 u2, is equals to the total momentum after collision, m1 v1 plus m2 v2. So this idea is actually you have this three type of collision involved, where you have elastic collision, inelastic, and also explosion. Most of the application we will involve explosion, like launching of rocket, okay, how the movement of squid, or you fired a gun, yeah. So this is the common one under explosion. So you need to see which of the diagram involving the idea of collisions. Okay, so A is nothing to do with this principle. A is just the idea that involve impulsive force. Great impulsive force can break it. So then next, B also stability, so nothing to involve. So B and C is similar idea on the idea of stability. But D, if you see they hit the ball, right? That means this the move, okay? There is a collisions, okay? Yeah, so that's why this is the answer, D. Number 5, a football of mass 0.5 kg is kicked by a force of 30 Newton in 0.5 seconds. What is the impulse experienced by the ball? So the formula for impulse or symbol is J. Okay, is either force times time or change in momentum, mv minus mu. So given quantity is here force and also time. So we will use this formula instead of change in momentum. And before you start, always check is all the quantity in SI unit or not. So they are in Newton, in seconds, so it's correct. So then you can straight away sub into the equation. And therefore your answer is this 15. And the unit, you see, the unit for force is Newton, my time is second. So that's why it's Newton second. So the answer is C. Number 6, a plaster symbol of mass 0.05 kg is thrown at a velocity of 10 meters per second and it hits the wall. It sticks to the wall. If the impact time during the collision is 0.2 seconds, what is the magnitude? They want the magnitude only a value. So you no need to take into direction, take into account of the direction of impulsive force acting on the wall. So what is the idea of impulsive force? Rate of change of momentum, mv minus mu over t. So you go through the statement and then label the quantity first. So mass m thrown at a velocity. Okay, so this is referred to initial velocity and it hits the wall. So when it hits this wall, that means your final velocity going to be 0. Okay, then this is the collision time. Okay, so based on what you have, now you can sub the value accordingly. 0.05, final velocity is 0, and then 0.05 times 10, and the time 0.2. So by right, you're supposed to get your answer at the end. You got negative, right? And the magnitude is 2.5 Newton because they want the magnitude, okay? So that's why you can just straight away take the 2.5 Newton and therefore your answer is B. Number 7, satellite J take 20 weeks to orbit the Earth, and the position of satellite J is 4 times further from the Earth than satellite K. How does satellite K orbit the Earth? Okay, so this idea is under the Kepler Third's law, where they're talking about the relationship T squared is directly proportional to R cubed, and hence you will have this equation, T1 squared over T2 squared equals to R1 cubed over R2 cubed. Okay, so this idea also tell you Kepler's third law means any object that orbiting the sun or Earth, right? Okay, if they are getting further this planet, so this idea is some sort like this is J and K. J. Okay, the position of J is 4 times further from the Earth than K. So I can draw K first and then 4 times further assumption. This is J. So if your distance from the Earth is further, that means this is the distance, then what happened to your time? So I assume this J is 2, and then K is 1. So the idea over here, that means if you are further, the time taken will be longer. If you are nearer, closer, the time taken will be shorter. Okay, so by using the idea of this, now I assume K, everything is 1. So this 20 weeks is for J, so this is T2. So therefore, they want me to find what? T1. And what is the relationship between this R1 and R2? The position of satellite J is 4 times further from the Earth. So therefore, you will have R1 equals to R2 equals to 4R1. R2 equals to 4R1. So since you have this relationship already, you can basically sub into the equation. So T1 is unknown, so we write that. And then later on, you can bring this over. So you can straight away press calculator. Your R1 is, remain R1. Your R2 is basically 4R1. And because they are cubed together, so you can bracket and then you do this way, cube together. And then multiply with T2. T2 is 20. So you have 20 square. Then next step, R1, same unknown, or you can cancel out. So it means become 1/4 cube. Then multiply with 20 square. Okay, so now you press your calculator. 0.25 cube times with 20 square. Okay, now you're supposed to get 6.25, but this is T1 square. You need T1 only, right? So you square root of the answer, and hence you get 2.5 weeks. Okay, so hopefully you all can actually use this equation to solve the questions, and also be alert lah. The one if you refer one as the satellite J or K, you must be alert so you will not denote it or write the relationship wrongly. Number 8. Diagram 1 shows an object of mass m move in a circular path of radius r with linear speed v. This object experiences a centripetal force. Which graph show the relationship between F and R when M and V is kept constant? Okay, so first you need to know what is the formula for this centripetal force. Okay, so centripetal force, the equation is F equals to what? You will have F equals to mv squared over R. Now, nowadays, indeed, they will give you all the formula list in the front page. So you can find out the equation. But then, of course, they did not really specify this F is centripetal force. So somehow you still need to really understand from each chapter this F is referred to what, because you also have what F equals to MA, then you also have what F equals to MV minus MU over T. So like this is impulsive force, this is net force, right? And this is centripetal force. You also have the universal force, right? F equals to GMM over R squared, that one. Yeah, so that's why you must really know the name lah. Because they really give you the symbol only. They don't give you the full terms. Okay, so now I tell you the centripetal force is this. So now we see how the graph look like. Then they say what is constant? Mass. And this V, this whole thing is actually constant. So if it is constant, that means F and R, their relationship is inversely proportional. So how does the graph inversely proportional look like? This is inversely proportional graph. Yeah, so that's why the answer is A lah for these questions. More inversely ideal means when one quantity increases, the other have to be decreases. Oh, Okay, next questions regarding the satellite. Geostationary satellite are in a special orbit known as geostationary Earth orbit. Short form is GEO. Okay, which of the following statement is true about geostationary satellite? So this geostationary satellite, basically they will actually follow the Earth. Okay, move in the same direction, rotate in the same direction, and other than that, they're supposed to have the same time for the Earth to complete one cycle in 24 hours. Also, therefore, as an observer, when you look at the satellite, they are together one, so it seems like motionless. Okay, that means it's not moving, and it is suitable to be used at what? Communication satellite, right? So we see the option. The orbital period is longer than 24 hours. Cannot, I say they have to be same already. Longer or shorter also cannot refer as geo satellite, okay? And then being on the same place on Earth, yes, direction of motion is the same as Earth rotation, correct? Earth imaging satellite is not the applications. Earth imaging satellite, they have to use the non-geostationary satellite. Hence, our option is 2 and also 3. So the answer is B. 10. The air pressure in car tires is 210 kilopascal at temperature of 27 degrees Celsius. What is the air pressure in the tire when the temperature is 35 degrees Celsius? So this idea is under the gas law. So as you all know, there are 3 gas law, right? And the common idea that we use is this triangle lah, whereby you have this P, V, T, and then the 3 side is referred to the 3 respective law. Then I always use this short form of Guru Bahasa Cina. Okay, so this one is actually Gay Luzet's law. This is Boyce, and then this is Charles. So now they are involving what? Pressure, the idea of theta, temperature, and then they want you to find the next pressure. So this one you can refer as P1 theta 1, this is P2 theta 2. Okay, so that means you are involving the idea of pressure and temperature. So basically for these questions, you are using the formula P over T. Okay, so you are using P1 over T1 equals to P2 over T2. Okay, so I always tell students whenever you apply the formula for Gay-Luzet law or Charles law, V1 over T1 as well, this T is called absolute temperature. So absolute temperature means the temperature in Kelvin. How do you change it to Kelvin form? The theta plus 273, then you will have your value in Kelvin. Why you have to change to Kelvin? Because this relationship is true only when the temperature in Kelvin. Because if it is theta, they are increases linearly, so they are not directly proportional. So the formula cannot be used. Understand? So you just need to know that you have to change degrees Celsius to Kelvin by plus 273. Okay? So now we sub accordingly, and we want to find P2, right? Yeah, so your P1 is 210 kilo. Kilo is 10 power 3. Then the T1 is 27 plus 273. Then P2 is unknown. T2 is 235 plus 273. Okay, then you simplify everything or press calculator. Okay, slowly lah. So we do the left side first. 210 divide by 27 plus 273. So this side you actually get 700, and then P2 over 308. Then therefore P2 equals to 308 times 700. So you will have 215,600 Pascal. Of course, the answer is in kilo, so you just divide back 1,000 to come kilo back lah. 1, 2, 3, that means it's 215 lah. 0.6 kilo Pascal. Okay, so we can solve this type of questions. Question 11. The characteristic of the gas that act as cooling agent in the cooling system of a refrigerator. Okay, so this is cooling agent, cooling agent in a cooling system. Okay, so how does this cooling agent work is basically they need to change its state from liquid to gaseous state. During this idea, right, you will absorb heat or release heat. You will absorb heat. So that's why they need it to be change state. Then they can absorb the heat in the cooling coil. Then they actually cool down the refrigerator. So this is the idea behind it. So hence, those liquid that must be easy to change its state lah. So that's why easy to evaporate for question 11. Yeah, and then easy to melt because it's a liquid form, so nothing to do with the change in state become melt lah. It's not solid. Okay, high boiling point cannot. You must have low boiling point, then only it become vapor easily ma. And then high specific heat capacity. So it's also not so accurate idea. We want the value to means change state ma. So when you change state, you are using the idea of specific latent heat instead of specific heat capacity. So we want this to be high, not heat capacity. Okay, so therefore your answer is A lah. Do not confuse the cooling agent in the radiator with this. All this is for refrigerator. So if car radiator, then they need to have a high specific capacity because normally we use water. 12. Diagram 2 shows the cooling curve of a substance changing from gaseous to solid. So at which state a specific latent heat of vaporization is released. Okay, so we label the part first. What are their state? So they're from gas, then they become liquid, and then they become solid. And what happened to the horizontal part? That means gas and liquid coexist. This one liquid and solid coexist. So this latent heat is the hidden heat. Why? Because there is no change in temperature. Okay, because the heat is used to change state. Yeah, so vaporization means change its state from gaseous to liquid state. Okay, so the part that involves latent heat is basically QR and also TU. But QR is a latent heat of vaporizations. That what they need it lah in the questions. While this is latent heat of fusion. Okay, so therefore your answer is QR. So your answer is B. 13. Heat energy of 21,600 joule is used to raise the temperature of 0.8 kg metal block from 30 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. What is the specific capacity of the metal block? Okay, so of course you need to know what formula involved. So the formula that we use here is Q equals to MC theta. So heat energy, the symbol is Q. Then this is mass. Then this is a change in temperature lah, or delta theta. Okay, sometimes they put the triangle. Okay, but understood lah. If they put also, it means change in temperature. So that one C is specific capacity. We rearrange the formula first. C equals to Q over M theta. Then now you can sub again. Before sub, always check is everything in SI unit or not. Joule, yes. Kg, yes. Degrees Celsius also yes. Okay, because your unit will be in degrees Celsius. Okay, 21,600 divided by mass 0.8. The change straight away minus 60 minus 30 is the D. Okay, so then you press calculator. Then you should get 900. Also, the unit is, see, the top one is joule ma, and this one is kilogram ma. This is degrees Celsius. So that's why you divide means per. So joule per kilogram per degree Celsius, the unit for specific capacity. 14. So this question is under wave topic on refraction. So which diagram is correct when water wave propagate from deep region to shallow region? Okay, so when the water travel from deep to shallow region, what happened is they will actually slow down. Means the speed decreases. Then other than that, deep to shallow, you also will have the wavelength decreases because V equals to F lambda. And then frequency is constant. So when you slow down, your wavelength also becomes shorter. Okay. Now, and one more idea is, since it's slow down, it's just like when you if you remember, light travel also, if they travel from less than medium to denser, they will slow down, right? If they slow down, what happens? They will refract towards normal line. So to know how to the shape look like at the end, so this dotted line is the boundary between the two region. You have to draw a normal line one. A normal line is a line which is perpendicular to the surface at 90 degree. 90 degree. So same like all, also you have to put this 90 degree. 90 degree. 90 degree. Okay. Then next step is the wave that travel, because the one that entering the wave front, okay, and the direction of propagation of wave, they're supposed to be perpendicular. That means if I were to draw, this is the incident wave lah. Incident wave, incident wave, no problem. So what happened to this wave when they touch between the surface? They will bend towards normal line or away. Okay, so too shallow, memang they will towards normal one. They will towards normal line. Towards normal line. So also towards normal line. Okay. Then lastly, after you draw the direction, right, of the wave propagate, you have to complete the wave front. The wave front is the one that perpendicular to the direction. So again, they have to be that 90 degrees. So is this 90 degree? No what? Okay. Now, so of course, A and C is not correct. Why? The wavelength no change. You're supposed to be decreased, smaller. Now teacher already say, you have to slow down. That's why wavelength smaller. Yeah, so your lambda 2 have to be shorter than lambda 1. Okay, so that's why it's either B and D. And then next thing, as you see, teacher show you all the direction of propagation of wave. They have to bend towards normal line, but then B doesn't. So the answer is D lah. Number 15, which diagram show destructive interference occurs? So under interference, you have two types of interference. One is destructive interference, one is constructive interference. Destructive interference occur when crest meet with trough or vice versa. Okay, to produce what? The key idea is zero amplitude when they combine. If it is constructive, that means crest meet with crest or trough meet with trough, produce maximum amplitude. So like A and B is actually referred to constructive interference. So A and B is not the answer. The answer is C, okay? Because when you A plus negative A, you got 0. But D cannot because you have 2A on the other side. You still have the amplitude there. Question 16. Diagram 3 show the arrangement operators used in the experiment of the interference of sound wave. And the distance between two loud sound X increases as. Okay, so for you to solve this question, again, you need to know the formula for interference of wave, where they will relate the wavelength of lambda equals to AX over D. So you need to know what is all this quantity referred to lah. Lambda is the wavelength, A is the distance between the two speakers, D is the distance from the speaker to the sound source being heard, and then the X is the distance between two consecutive loud sound or weak sound. Okay, so now they want you to relate what happens when X increases. So again, we make X as subject. So you have lambda D over A. So you want X to be increases, either the top one or they both the distance D increase, or you increase the wavelength, okay, or you actually decrease the distance between the two speaker. So now we see is A acceptable, increases, so wrong. The diameter of loudspeaker increases, actually this one nothing to do with this question, so cannot. Then the frequency increases is not correct. You can relate frequency with wavelength. Frequency is inversely proportional to wavelength. So we want the bigger wavelength, so frequency should be lower, so also not accepted. Then lastly, the distance between the loudspeaker and D increases. You see, increases, correct? So that's why the answer is D. Question 17. Diagram 4 show a beam of light traveling from air to medium. What is the refractive index of that medium? Okay, so as you all know, you're supposed to have the relationship or this refractive index is actually psi I over psi R, and this I must be referred to be in air. In air, the angle of incident in air means from less than to denser medium. Okay, so what is incident angle? Q is the incident angle. So by right, this is refracted angle, but that's not given. But this R is also same as this R, right? Okay, so you can still use this angle because they are same as Z. Okay, then S and this Q, of course, this is a emergent ray, but these two rays, since they are same medium or air, then when you come up, you also come up at air. So that's why these two lines, they're supposedly to be parallel. If it is parallel, that means Q, the angle of Q also equals to angle of S. Angle of Q equals to angle S. So therefore, by right, you're supposed to have this sign Q. Understand? By right, in general, straight away, then over this sign small r, and teacher says small r is equal to big R. But then you see the option, there is no answer, but they have another option. You see this one, sine S over sine R. So teacher also say that this Q and S is same thing. So that's why you can also apply this as the answer. And the rest is not acceptable because the angle beneath the angle of refraction is not accurate. Okay. 18. Which of the following instrument apply total internal reflection? So the general idea for you, total internal reflections occurs when the ray reflect inside a medium or a transparent medium, like the ray reflected inside the glass, okay, or this perspex and so on. Okay, so normally the common usage we will use use the prism. So the prism periscope is the instrument. Okay, so for your general idea, how does this prism periscope look like? So you have this tube. Okay, and basically they're similar like mirror, but mirror is just plain, or they are not a transparent material. So prism is the one you are the whole glass block like that lah. So how the ray travel is when there's strike on this surface, they will enter. Then upon this diagonal surface, right, they will actually encounter total internal reflection. So total internal reflection will actually occur over this part. TIR short form, total internal reflection. So you can observe any object lah. 19. Diagram 5 show an object is placed in front of a convex lens with focal length of 10 cm. What are the characteristics of the image form? Okay, so teacher always say when under ray diagram, you must be careful. Either it is a lens or it is a mirror. So, and then other than that, you should know that it should be a converging lens or diverging lens. So convex lens is a converging lens. If it is converging lens, then they have 6 different characteristics when the object is placed at different position. The object placed at different position. So they already mentioned your focal point is about 10 cm. So this is your focus point. So I show you the 6 position. So you will have your idea where your object is less than focal length. So every time in teacher's lesson, I will ask you all to draw a diagram based on this first one, which is less than focal length, focus point between F and 2F where this is now the one that in the questions they want to know the characteristic. And then at 2F, and then you have more than 2F and one more position is at infinity. So I always tell this as case 1, case 2, case 3, 4, 5, and 6. And what is their characteristic? It's like a reader more. I ask students to memorize womb, rim, wrist, read. So this is how you get the final characteristic of the image formula. So if you to look at this, so my one is third, that's mean the image form is supposed to be real, inverted, and magnified. So you find out which one is real, inverted, magnified. Diminish already wrong. Okay, yes, magnified, real, inverted. So the answer is C lah. So if you know this rhythm, and then of course you also know how to draw the ray diagram, all this, then it's easier for you to get the answer lah. So you no need to draw it out because you already know this is the sequence. Question 20. Diagram 6 shows a sponge that is wrapped is able to return to its original shape and size after grip is released. Because the sponge have what? Of course, it have elastic property because they can go back to its original shape and size. Any object have this property. We say they are elastic. Okay, diagram 7 show 3 forces, F1, F2, and F3 acting on a large ship. Pulling forces by the 2 small boats cause the large ship to move at constant velocity. Which statement is true about these forces? Okay, because the statement here showing that they are actually move at constant velocity. By right, these two is the pulling force, F1 and F2. They are pulling force, and this F3 is actually the water resistance, okay, or drag, where they are opposing. Okay, or put it drag, you can call it as drag also, opposing the direction of pulling force. But what is the relationship between this F3 and F1 and F2? They're supposedly, what you get for these two, they're supposed to be equal than F3, okay, because constant velocity, your net force is 0. So hence, in the vector equation, this is how you actually write F1 plus F2 is also equivalent to F3. So the answer is A. Okay, next one, diagram 8 shows a student stand on the wing scale. He experienced 3 different elevators motion situations, X, Y, and Z. So which of the following equation is true about apparent weight R? So in this context, right, this apparent weight R is also the reading of the wing scale. Okay, so you have a different scenario one. You need to know the general concept. If the object move at constant velocity, whether they're up or down, or even they are at rest, then generally the reading of this wing scale is equal to the weight, the actual weight. So you do not change in weight. Then how about if the object is accelerated upward or downward? So you need to form equation, right? So I will tell student your acceleration is upward in this case. So you actually start forming equation by using this F net equals to MA concept. Okay, but what is this F net? F net is resultant force. So you must know that if your acceleration is up, that means you need to know who is greater. Is your R greater or mg greater? Then only you can accelerate upward. So the net force is always follow the direction of acceleration is always follow the net force. That's why your R is greater than mg. So to form the equation, right, we always use bigger force minus smaller force. We assume the smaller force is negative direction. Then your equation will not have negatives, then so confusing like that. Okay, so in this context, remember R minus mg equals to ma. And you rearrange R equals to mg plus ma. So same go for this one. Now you have R again, upward, no change one. Downward is mg, and now your acceleration is downward. So that means who is greater now? Your mg is greater than R. Then same thing, you use back the same equation one. F net equals to ma, F net equals to ma. So now you have to use what minus what? Instead of R minus, now you have to use what? Mg minus R equals to ma. And I want R as subject, so you rearrange, you will have R equals to mg minus ma. So I already formed all the 3 equations. The option is D. Okay, or another way I always tell students is sometimes you all find like I really not sure how to form the equation, a bit confusing. Easier way, I always tell students, if you are moving upward with an acceleration, basically you feel heavier. How come? Because you're against the gravity. But vice versa, if you are moving downward with an acceleration, right, then you will actually find it lighter. I just tell students, you can imagine this idea if like you are going to what roller coaster, right? When you move, then suddenly when you move down, boom, wow, you really like feel like weightless. So this is the experience. So the apparent become less. Okay. So then you will know either plus MA or minus MA. This is another way for you to try to remember the equations. 23. Diagram 9 shows a manometer containing mercury connected to a gas supply. So what is the gas supply? P, if the atmospheric pressure is 76 cm mercury. So this is a manometer to find the gas supply. So how do you find the relationship is, okay, you always draw a boundary between the gas and the liquid. So you draw the boundary already, correct? Then basically they are on the same level, right? So you tell student this 0.1, 0.2, right? Their pressure is the same. P1 equals to P2. So P1, no doubt, you are supplied by gas. So P1 is also gas pressure. But what is P2? P2 is acted by a column of liquid, this part, okay, we call it PL. And because it's open, you also acted by atmospheric pressure. So you will actually have this atmospheric pressure plus the liquid pressure. Okay, so they want you to find the gas pressure, right? So atmospheric pressure, they already give you in terms of the length in cm mercury. So no doubt is 76 cm. But how about the liquid? The liquid is not 18, right? Notice or not? Yeah. But how can I get this PL? They give you 18 cm and they also give you this H, right? So it's actually 18 minus H. Yeah, so you're going to plus 18 minus H. And then the unit is in cm mercury lah. So that's why among these A, B, C, D, which one is the answer? D is the correct answer. Question 24. Diagram 10 shows the displacement of water after a solid iron ball is completely immersed in a Eureka can. If the volume of the iron ball is 50 cm cube, what is the weight of water displaced? Okay, so as you all know, this is under Archimedes principle. Archimedes principle also state that an object that is fully or partially submerged in the fluid, it is acted by a buoyant force which is equal to the weight of liquid displaced. So your buoyant force equals to the, I give short form, weight of liquid displaced. And the formula is actually rho Vg, where this rho is referred to the density of the fluid, V is the volume of object submerged, or the water, the volume of water displaced, same thing. And G is the acceleration due to gravity lah. Okay, so do they give you the density? Yes. Do they give you the volume? Correct. G is standard lah. It's always 9.81. So since you have all this value, again, you can sub. But again, every time when you sub any value into the equation, you must make sure are they in SI unit or not. So kg per meter cube, they are SI unit, no problem. But you see the volume is in cm cube. So they are not in SI unit. How do you change to SI unit? So volume is 50 centimeter cube. Okay, so you're supposed to really recall back what you actually learned in Form 1. And a teacher always will reteach when it is in Form 4. Okay, all these prefix so that you really know. So centi is basically 10 negative 2. Then one thing student always have mistake is that didn't look into whether it is cube, square, or it just merely length. Okay, so in this context, you are volume, so you cube, right? That's mean this whole thing you have to bracket and cube it. So when you change the volume, it's actually 50 times negative 20. Negative 6 meter cube. Of course, this is still not in standard form, but during substitution, you no need to be in the standard form. You can straight away sub more, but final answer have to be standard form. So your density now is 1000. What is your volume? 50 times 10 negative 6. if you didn't change this, then you may have problem. You see, they are all same number, right? It's just about whether did you able to change your volume or not. If you didn't, then you may choose the wrong answer for this case. Yeah, now you can type all the value into the calculator and get your final answer. So by right, you're supposed to get 0.4905, which is A lah. Yeah, so teacher hope that you all know how to change unit. So sometimes you know formula also not enough. You also need to know how to change unit. So all this is basic lah. If it is like cm square, then you square it, get it? Okay, so the common prefix okay, since you all learn a bit on prefix that normally will be used is this few centi, milli, micro. Okay, so centi is 10 negative 2, milli is 10 negative 3, micro is 10 negative 6. Okay, moving on. This one is under Pascal principle. Diagram 11 shows a truck lifting its load using a hydraulic cylinder BC. So hydraulic cylinder BC function based on what? Pascal principle, where this liquid is transmitted uniformly in a enclosed fluid. Yes. So they really have this liquid inside, then the pressure is transmitted lah. Diagram 12 show a circuit with 3 similar resistors R and 2 measuring instrument P and S. Which pair of P and S is correct? So this is under electricity. Okay, so for your understanding, the arrangement of this ammeter is always in series one. While voltmeter, when you connect into the circuit, is always in sorry, parallel. Okay, so if you were to look at this diagram, P is arranged in series in the circuit of parallel series. So P is supposed to be ammeter. Then S suppose if they are in parallel, right, they are voltmeter. Okay, so we see the option now. Yeah, so this is B lah, the answer. Okay, now next questions. Diagram 13 show a bird perching on a high voltage cable, but the bird does not experience an electric shock. Why? Okay, the resistance of cable is high, cannot be lah, because your current can flow. Not the reason. Then most of the electrical energy convert to heat energy, also not related to the electric shock idea. Okay, so the answer is B. The voltage between the leg is too low, because you see the 2 point, the distance is so short. Since the voltage is small, or actually is same like what we call same potential. So if there's same potential, that means there is no flow of electron, or they are too small, so the flow of current is also very low. So the answer is B. C, bird is a good electric insulator. No. Okay, so that's why the answer is B lah. Next, diagram 14 show a toaster with a specification of 240 volt, 750 watt that is used in 0.5 hour. How much energy is used by the toaster? Okay, so they give you the voltage idea, the power idea, and also time idea. Okay, so in this context, we will use the general formula regarding the energy consumption, where E equals to PT, where you also can get this formula from the rate of energy transferred using the power idea, then you rearrange the formula. So it's same thing lah. So same thing. Now you look at the unit of the choice is actually in kilowatt hour. That means your power must be in kilowatt, and then your time must be in hour idea when you sub. If you change to SI unit, that means your unit should be in joule. So you see the option now. The option the choice is in kilowatt hour. So this is also unit of energy. Whenever you calculate for this electrical bill, right, you're supposed to change to this unit lah. It's just like another unit for energy. Okay, but it's in terms of unit of energy. So this power you change to kilowatt is 0.75 kilowatt lah. So now teacher will sub on 0.75, and then the time they already give you in hours. So you just time with 0.5. So then you will get the answer already. And you get 0.375 kilowatt hour. Number 29, diagram 15 shows a motions of current carrying copper wire placed between two poles of magnet. The direction of copper wire can be determined by, so this idea is under the topic of 4.1 on the catapult field idea. And I always tell students 4.1, 4.2, they are opposite idea, right? And 4.1, I use the application as the example. So it's more on this idea on motor, but 4.2 is on dynamo or generator. Why I use this? Because you look at the location of this more, then you will know when you using your Fleming rules, you know which hands, is it left hand or right hand. So this more is on the left, this more is on the right. Since this is under 4.1, because you got current, right? Because motor is applying electric current to kinetic energy idea, but dynamo is vice versa. You have kinetic, then you produce electrical, correct? So that's why we are using Fleming left hands rule, okay? Where FBI, this is force, B is magnetic field, north to south, and then I is the direction of current. Like this case, how do you move your hand? Okay, so you see, this is your current I, and then your magnetic field is what? North to south, B down. Then you need to know where is your thumb. So I also got your thumb. So FBI, okay, since the current is pointing you, so I think you move this middle finger point outwards. That means point yourself. Seems like the current up from the screen. And then how do you move your B? Your B is north to south. So now this is pointing up. I supposed to pointing down. So once you fix your current, right, you only can turn your hand this way, this way. Okay, so where is your thumb? Toward right side. Okay, so it's like what the diagram show also lah. Yeah, so other than that, teacher also guide you through how to use your Fleming left hands rule. 30. Diagram 16 shows a bar magnet released into a solenoid at different height. Okay, so they are being dropped in a different height. So this is a idea. Also, which statement is correct when the magnet is released? Okay, so what is so different when you drop a magnet at a higher position? So you can relate the idea of position with velocity. Also, you just imagine you drop an egg at 30th floor with the first floor. So there will be different speed, correct? The higher the position, the higher the velocity. Okay, so this one, the velocity is lower compared to the other one. So due to this, right, if you increase your height, that means velocity increases. Then when your velocity increases, that means the rate of cutting is more. If rate of cutting is more, that means your current will be more. So it will deflect more. Okay, so if height is increased, everything will be increased. Increase, decrease, wrong already. Increase, increase, decrease, wrong already. Increase, increase, increase. Yes, decrease, decrease, cannot. So the answer is C lah. 31. Diagram 17 show an ideal transformer, and the input power of the transformer is 96 watt. Calculate the voltage across the resistor. So they want to know what is this secondary voltage that across this. Okay, so since they already say this is ideal, so ideal means the input power have to be equal to the output power. And they already tell you what is your input power is 96 watt. So since input is equals to output, so your output must also be 96 lah. Okay, next, since they want you to find voltage and also they give you the resistance of this resistor, you need to know what is the formula that link with the resistance and also voltage with this power. So basically you have three formula for power in general. You have P equals to VI, very common one, VIP. You also have P equals to V squared over R, and you also have P equals to I squared R. Now, because we want to use the one that have voltage and resistance, so we will use P equals to V squared over R. Then only I can find the V. Now I have 96, then my V squared, then my R is 6. Okay, so you rearrange, you will have V squared equals to 96 times 6. Then 576, not the answer yet because I want V, then square root of answer, then you get actually 24. So the answer is B lah. 32. Diagram 18 shows the emissions process of electron from a hot cathode surface to the anode in a cathode ray tube. The speed of the electron emission can be increased by, okay, so they want to increase the speed, not increase the number. Okay, so the speed is actually affected by the voltage in between. This voltage, we also call them at extra high tension power, cathode and anode. Basically, you have two power supplies in this vacuum tube. This filament also need voltage one, but then they are connected to normal power supply lah. They are low voltage one, okay? Normal voltage, like normally 6 to 12 volt will do, but EHD can be up to kilovolt lah, 4 kilovolt. Okay, yeah. So now we see, you want to increase the speed, they are affected by this factor. So temperature of the filament, no, because this one will affect the number of electron, not the speed. Size of the surface, also they are more on a number of electron. Voltage across the filament, also no, this is all regarding the number of electron. But then affect the speed one will be the voltage across and this voltage, like say, extra high tension power. Then you have high strength, then only you can accelerate the electron. Next one, 33. Diagram 19 shows an electronic circuit which consists of a diode. Which of the following statements are true? Okay, so the diode is over here. As you know, the diode is made by two type of semiconductor. We have N-type and P-type. The line one is N-type. The P-type is the behind on the triangle. So then this is positive terminal, this is negative terminal. So when you connect positive to N-type, negative to P-type, actually this is called reverse bias connection. They are reverse bias. If they are reverse bias, mean the menthol will not light up. But why versa? Let's say teacher change the terminal of the battery, become this way, negative with the N-type. That means they will allow current to flow. Then your bulb will be forward bias. Everything this one will be forward and the bulb can light up. So since it's reverse, not light up, so we see the choice. So it's number 2 and also number 4. 34. Diagram 20 shows a current amplifier circuit. The switch S1 and S2 are switched on. And the reading of microammeter is 20 microampere, and the reading of the milliammeter is 3.2 milliampere. Calculate the amplification factor. So first you need to know the equation for amplification factors. Also, transistor can have two application. One is act as current amplifier lah. So the formula is actually IC over IB, collector current divided by base current. Collector current is over here. This is a collector circuit. This is a base circuit. So therefore, you identify the base is in micro one. So this is actually called IB. Then this is actually called IC. So again, you see, you will look at this. They come along with the prefix. Prefix is actually a value. So when you sub into the equation, you have to change it. Okay, so your IC is 3.2, right? Milli is stand for 10 power negative 3. So you have to change, then it become ampere alone. Similarly, go for base. What is micro stand for? Micro is 10⁻⁶. So when you sub, make sure you put bracket like that. Okay, then you press calculator. So of course it will be more than it cannot be 0 point something lah. If it's 0 point something, that means something wrong with your prefix, all this lah. So when you sub everything, you actually get 160. And there will be no unit because you see ampere cancel out already. So again, this question, you not only need to know the amplification factor formula, collector current divided by base current, you also need to know milli is stand for 10⁻3, micro is stand for 10⁻6, and you have to change it when you sub. If not, then you will get the wrong answer. 35 is under nuclear physics already on this radioactive decay. So diagram 21 shows a graph of activity against time of a radioactive substance. What is the half-life of the substance X? So what is the initial activity? 80. So half of it is actually 40. So what you do, you just do interpolations. 40, draw a horizontal line, then go down. How many days? Is 24 days. Okay, so this is how you get the answer. 36. The following equation represent the decay of radiant substance which occurs spontaneously. So the mass defect is 0.004 AMU, atomic mass unit, which is another unit for mass, but then for these atom or subparticles, because they are very small, so normally they will change it to AMU. So what is the nuclear energy? So under this topic, right, nuclear physics, you actually have this E equals to mc squared, where E is the energy, M must be in kg. Then C is speed of light. Okay, this is speed of light, and they will also give you in this formula list if they are not given you in the questions. And these values of C is 3 × 10⁸ meter per second. There is given one. Okay, so now what you need to do, they already give you the mass defects. This mass must be in kg, but they also tell you 1 AMU is 1.66 × 10⁻⁻27. So what you do with this is you will actually first change the AMU into kg. So you sub that time 0.04, you have to multiply with 1.66 × 10⁻⁻27. Then they are in kg. Then speed of light, I tell you already, 3 × 10⁸. Then you have to square it. Okay, then when you press calculator, you by right get the correct answer lah. So you're supposed to get the answer as B. Try again. A. Oh, sorry, this one I missed out 1 0 over here. Okay, it's 0.004. Yeah, so it's -13. 37. Okay, so for these questions, they actually got slight mistake. So the ratio of decaying uranium-238 nuclide to lead-208 in a uranium rock sample. Okay, by right, it's supposed to be vice versa. That means it's supposed to be ratio of lead-208 to 238. So they interchange already. They got slight mistake for these questions. If at the beginning of the uranium rock formations there is no lead trapped in it, what is the approximate age of the rock if the half-life of uranium-238 is 5 × 10⁻⁹ years? Okay, so initially the amount, the activity is N0, the number of uranium that not decay. So after first half-life, that become half-life, right? after 2 times of half-life, they become 1/4 and not. So similarly, they will decay and then they change to lead. So the lead will become, initially, they do not have any amount of activity. But after that, they become half and then they become 3/4. 3/4 is the one for this lead. So that's why the ratio of the lead is to uranium is 3:1. Okay, so since this is the idea behind it, that means they undergo 2 times of half-life, 2T half. Yeah, so hence the half-life here is 5 times 10 power 9. So the age of rock will be 2 times 5 times 10 power 9. And you will get 10 times 10 power of 9 lah. Then you change to standard form is 1 times 10 power of 9 above lah. So among this answer, less than that, confirm cannot. In between also cannot lah. It can be more than that. So the best answer is B. Okay. So this idea also similar as an example of the questions in the textbook, school textbook. If you want to know more about it, you can actually refer to the textbook one. 38. Diagram 22 show a photoelectric effect. Which of the following is true? So what is this photoelectric effect? Under this quantum physics, the light is in the form of photon. Okay, they are in the particle form. Yeah. So what happens is when the photons strike the surface, okay, if they actually exceed the light frequency, exceed the threshold frequency of this matter, therefore the electron can be emitted out. This electron that emitted out is also called photon electron. That means you hit the light energy 1 photon, they will knock out 1 electron out. So they want the true one. Okay, so the kinetic energy of the photoelectron does not depend on the intensity of light. Actually, this is the correct answer, because the kinetic energy depends on what? Depends on frequency. So by right, higher frequency, because the general formula from Einstein, right, you also will actually have this relationship. The photon energy is equals to work function plus the kinetic energy. So the photon energy is H frequency, then the work function is HF naught. Kinetic energy is half mv square. So kinetic energy is affected by the frequency lah. Their relationship should be higher. So this is wrong. Then the maximum frequency of light needed for matter to emit electron is known as threshold frequency. It's not called maximum, it's called minimum. Then the emission electron from the surface require heating process. They are not heating. You just need to shine the light. Okay. Yeah. So that's why the answer is A lah. 39. Diagram 23 shows maximum kinetic energy of photoelectron against frequency of light. This graph. Then what is the value of X represent? So under the graph of Kmax versus frequency, right? So actually this X-intercept is also referred to threshold frequency or threshold frequency. Yeah, so the answer is D lah. If it is work function, then you have to find the Y-intercept. Y-intercept is the work function, and the gradient is actually Planck constant H. Last questions. What is the work function of a metal which have a threshold frequency of 4.8 times 10 power 14 Hertz? So the relationship between work function and the threshold frequency is HF naught. So if you know the Planck constant, you know the threshold frequency, this is referred to threshold frequency, then you can get the work function. So now we will sub 6.63 times 10 power of negative 34, and the threshold frequency is 4.8 times 10 power of 14. When you press calculator, you're supposed to get your correct final answer lah. Yeah, at the end, you're supposed to get this B or 3.18 times 10 power negative 19. Yeah, so we're actually done with the questions. So thank you, and I will see you again on other discussions of paper. Bye-bye.